Drew McIntyre has continued to troll CM Punk, this time referencing his infamous media scrum at AEW All Out in 2022 prior to the now infamous Brawl Out as well. We'll let you know how he's continued to troll the former AEW World Champion. Now, tonight's episode of Raw is going to feature both McIntyre and Punk. It's in Punk's hometown of Chicago, Illinois, and we are set for the largest crowd that Raw has seen in 5 years tonight. We'll let you know how many people are expected at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Ronda Rousey has continued to slam Vince McMahon in a new interview ahead of her book being released next month. Collision. It's on Saturday night, but of course, WrestleMania Night 1 is on Saturday night in April. So is Collision going to be going head-to-head with WrestleMania? Well, it looks like it's not going to happen, and we'll let you know why. Eric Bishof explains why he thinks AEW adding more pay-per-views is a bad idea, and Charlotte Flair reportedly went against plans when she faced Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania last year. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrest News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Drew McIntyre, as he has continued to troll CM Punk, particularly considering Raw tonight is in Punk's hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Now, Drew McIntyre has once again made reference to CM Punk's infamous all-out media scrum ahead of his return on tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw from Chicago, Illinois. Of course, McIntyre has taken numerous shots at CM Punk following Punk's injury during the men's 2024 Royal Rumble match. On Twitter over the weekend, Drew McIntyre shared a video in response to Punk's training video where he worked out to the Justin Timberlake song Cry Me a River. Drew then took to social media today, specifically X, where he arrived in Chicago ahead of tonight's Raw at the Allstate Arena, where he made sure to make a stop by an infamous location that CM Punk has kind of made famous, particularly when it comes to that infamous all-out media scrum. Take a look.
We're in Chicago. You know what? I've been coming here for about 16 years. I've never actually seen any landmarks, and today I want to fix that because today's a very special day. Today, I'm very much at one with Chicago. It feels like my birthday and Christmas all rolled into one. Actually, let me lock this car real quick. We're still in Chicago. All right, as I was saying, this is the first place I want to check out. I've heard so much about it. I think this is the right spot. There it is. Let's get a shot so you know where I'm at. About it just as much as I have. I'm excited for them to fuel me for it. Oh wait, you gotta be kidding me. I just drove all the way here. Closed on Mondays and Tuesdays because why wouldn't your business be closed on a Monday and Tuesday? Alright, well, probably tastes like crap anyway, to be honest. I don't need to be eating that crap. I'll get something else to fuel myself for tonight. Guess I'll just head to the Allstate Arena and I'll see all you lovely people there. Showtime.
The ultimate troll, isn't he, CM Punk? Now, if you're not familiar, Mindy's Bakery gained notoriety among wrestling fans when Punk ate muffins from the bakery and gave them a shout-out during the infamous AEW All-Out Media Scrum back in 2022. Now, Punk made sure to remind everyone that the bakery was closed on Mondays and Tuesdays during his rant, which is something that Drew McIntyre himself forgot. Now, McIntyre is set to challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40. Of course, that's next weekend. What do you make of McIntyre's, trolling of Punk on social media? Do you like it? Don't you like it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about that. Now, I mentioned Raw tonight. It's in Chicago, Illinois, and we've got a bumper crowd expected at the Allstate Arena because tonight's episode of Raw in Chicago is on track to set a new 5-year record for the company. It was previously reported that tonight's episode of Raw was set to feature a minimalistic stage design previously used when WWE held Survivor Series in Chicago in the same building in November. Now, as of this recording, the show is currently on pace to sell out, with the show likely to see over 15,000 people in attendance. We'll get to that in just a second. Well, in an update from WrestleVotes, which you can see on the screen right now, tonight's show is on track to become the biggest crowd for an episode of Raw in almost 5 years. The previous record is held by the April 8, 2019 episode of the show in Brooklyn, which served as the Raw after WrestleMania 35. WrestleVotes tweeted the following. They said, quote, with tonight's Monday Night Raw in Chicago on pace to sell out and officially top 15,000 in attendance, it will become the biggest Raw crowd in nearly 5 years. The last being the April 8th, 2019 edition in Brooklyn, the night after WrestleMania 35, which drew 15,741 in attendance. Now, I mentioned when it comes to the attendance for tonight's show, which you can see right there, this is from WrestleTix. This was actually this morning. Actually, more spaces have opened up since then as they continue to scale back the production for tonight's show in the All-State Arena. But as of this morning, there was only just over 60 tickets left available. The current setup was for over 15,022 tickets. Now, again, some more have opened up, so it could be actually closer to maybe 15,100, something like that. As of this morning, 14,961 tickets had been distributed. The expectation is that, again, it will top 15,000 and it will sell out. As far as things that are scheduled for the show, as is pointed out here by WrestleTix, CM Punk returns to Raw in his hometown of Chicago. Jey Uso takes on Shinsuke Nakamura. Sami Zayn versus Big Bronson Reed. Ivy Nile takes on the new look Candice LeRae. Ricochet looks to get payback on JD McDonough, and Andrade takes on the indomitable Ivar. Now, that's not actually probably going to be the case because it's been reported actually by WrestleVotes in just the last couple of minutes actually at the time of recording this video that according to WrestleVotes, they are tweeting, quotes, source states the advertised Andrade versus Ivar match will not be happening tonight on Raw. I'm told Andrade will still compete, however. Now, no details as to why that's the case, whether it's just rewrites, whether it's an injury to Ivar or something of that nature. We'll have to wait and see. But the expectation is, according to WrestleVotes, Andrade will still compete tonight. Now, Ronda Rousey, of course, she's been very vocal in the last week or so when it comes to Vince McMahon, WWE, John Laurinaitis, Bruce Pritchard, and the overall experience she had during her WWE career. Now, Rousey has continued to slam WWE's former chairman and CEO Vince McMahon in a new interview. Now, Rousey told Cage Side Seats that her frustrations with the company stemmed from the women's roster not being given the same screen time or prep time. She said, quote, the Bloodline is able to plan things a year ahead of time, and they won't even talk to me until I get to the arena about anything. I proved in my first match that if you give me time, the resources, and the preparation, I can put together an amazing match. And I feel like they're really doing that with Logan Paul and allowing him to rehearse and put these things together and have all of these different resources, producers, to bring him to his highest potential. And it got to the point where girls, weren't going to get any of that. Rousey continued to say that she began to feel like she was doing custom matches for an effing sicko in the back. She continued by saying, quote, I just didn't want to be Vince's action effing figure anymore. I felt like I was doing custom matches for an effing sicko in the back. All power to the girls that keep fighting the good fight, but I'm in my mid-30s now. I've got shit to do. Rousey also reiterated previous comments she made about Bruce Pritchard serving as Vince's avatar when he had supposedly retired from the company. Rousey said, quote, Vince McMahon was never gone while I was there. He was just phoning it in through Bruce Pritchard. My agent, who works at WWE, which is Endeavor, he was telling me, quote, he's completely gone now, I swear. And I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it because everyone said he left before. He never left. He was there by text message. Now, later in the interview, Rousey discussed not having a singles match with Becky Lynch at WrestleMania and what she said to the company regarding her final storylines. Rousey said WWE refused to work with her on developing a storyline that would lead to her versus Lynch at WrestleMania 38 in Dallas. She said, quote, WWE just refused to work with me at all. They refused to collaborate. They didn't want to talk to me about it. They kept pushing it off until it finally got to the road to WrestleMania and they're like, yeah, we're not going to do you and Becky. Rousey continued by saying, quote, I'm like, all right, well, I'm effing leaving unless me and Shayna can tag. If you guys don't want to work with me, you don't want to do something extraordinary, you just want to do good enough every single night, I came here to have fun with my friends. Regarding her decision to leave WWE, Rousey says she told Triple H she couldn't be associated with mediocrity. She said, quote, I had a long sit down with Triple H and I was like, I can't be associated with mediocrity. And that's why they seemed to be happy with at the time. And I hope that's different now, but I can't say that I've never experienced it any other way. However, Rousey was complimentary towards Triple H in the interview. She stated that she wished her final WWE run took place while he was running the company. Rousey continued by saying, quote, "Triple H has been great towards the women in the company and really believing in us. He's the whole reason I was there, because he believed in me. I really wish that my last run was under Triple H running things and Vince being gone." So what do you make of what Ronda Rousey has said there? Let me know your thoughts about that too in the comment section below. Now, WrestleMania is on the horizon. Of course, it's going to be WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. But another pro wrestling show does take usually place on Saturdays, and that is AEW Collision. So the question is, will AEW Collision go head-to-head with WrestleMania Saturday? Doesn't look like it, because the April 6th edition of AEW Collision will air at a later time than usual to avoid seemingly, perhaps, being decimated by WrestleMania 40. Now, TNT's programming schedule reveals that the show will air at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, much later than the usual 8 p.m. Eastern time slot. Now, this will likely prevent it from going head-to-head with WrestleMania 40 Saturday, which is set to start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Not only that, but the April 6th edition of Collision will be taped in advance. The show will be taped following the April 3rd edition of AEW Dynamite. Both shows will take place at the DCU Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. Currently, no matches have been announced for the April 6th edition of Collision. Now, this strategy does mark a change when it comes to AEW Collision. In the past, the show has gone head-to-head with premium live events in the past, such as the Royal Rumble and others. However, this time, that's not going to happen. Now, when it does come to this, some are suggesting it's because of WrestleMania. However, some are suggesting it's due to actually something else instead. Now, according to TNT programming, as I mentioned, the April 6th edition of Collision will be airing at 11:30 p.m. Eastern due to the NCAA March Madness basketball tournament. Some are suggesting it's because of WrestleMania. Others are saying, no, it's just because the NCAA March Madness basketball tournament is taking place instead. What do you make? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, speaking of AEW, they're adding more pay-per-views this year, but Eric Bischoff believes this isn't a good idea. AEW's pay-per-view schedule was always much more spread out than WWE's, with only 4 pay-per-views per year from 2020 to 2021. However, the promotion is slowly adding more events to its schedule, with Eric Bischoff he believes is a bad idea. While speaking on Strictly Business, Bischoff explained that the move will ultimately put more pressure on AEW's creative team, which he believes is struggling. He said, quote, "I think the additional content, adding another pay-per-view, it's adding more creative pressure to a system and a process that's already overwhelmed. It's not working, it's not functioning, it's not a well-oiled machine." Now, Bischoff notably admitted that there has been some growth from what he can observe, but again emphasized how much the move will affect the quality of AEW's creative. He said, quote, "I'm sure there's a lot of growth curve going on. People are learning, people are experiencing, but it is a mess, and I don't think anybody can argue that. Adding more content is only going to add more pressure to that process, and I think the overall quality of that product is going to suffer." Despite this, he explained that AEW will ultimately know whether it's the right move by simply observing the market. He said, quote, "It's just going to be a matter of watching the revenue and watching it either grow every month or start to deteriorate every month, and the market will determine how much is too much." So do you agree with Bischoff or do you disagree? Is the adding of more pay-per-views a good thing or a bad thing for AEW? Finally, this is an interesting story when it comes to Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey at last year's WrestleMania. Now, once again, this comes from former WWE superstar Ronda Rousey, who has revealed how Charlotte Flair made changes to her plans for her match at WrestleMania 39 in 2023. Now, last year's WrestleMania 39 event was an eventful show, and Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley was one of the highlights of the event. This SmackDown Women's Championship match has been heavily praised by fans with WWE, and the bout being nominated for the Match of the Year in the 2024 Slammy Awards. Speaking with Cage Side Seats ahead of the release of her new memoir, Our Fight, Rousey noted that Flair and Ripley's match wasn't originally set to go on for as long as it did. Claiming that Charlotte stood her ground backstage, Rousey said, quote, "They weren't supposed to go that long. The whole time the referee is telling them to go backstage, and Charlotte threw her big dick on the table and said, no, we're going to do this awesome effing match." And that's what the women are dealing with. They're not allowed to show how effing amazing they are because, oh, the crowd's going to be tired for the guys' match afterwards. That's bullshit. Now, Charlotte Flair is currently out of action after suffering an ACL, MCL, and meniscus injury in December. Meanwhile, Rhea Ripley is set to defend her WWE Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.